Gurmagad Ceann Comhairle, and thank the deputies for actually tabling their motion here this evening, and I move the counter motion on behalf of the government. It does give an opportunity for us to debate this very important topic and to be, I hope, open, realistic and honest with people as well as to where we're at, why we're here and where we're going to. And it is quite easy for, and maybe suits for, Deputy O'Brien and others to just dismiss COVID, dismiss 2 construction shutdowns, dismiss inflation, dismiss supply chains, dismiss what's happening actually in the rest of Europe and in the developed world. It mightn't suit your narrative, but I think people deserve an honest debate. I think people credit them with the intelligence that they have to be able to understand what the situation is. And I wouldn't try to be sending people down rabbit holes either and trying to paint a picture that is very different from what's actually happening. And progress is being made, and I welcome the opportunity to be able to detail areas where progress is being made, notwithstanding the very difficult situation many thousands of people find themselves to be in. And Deputy Crowe has outlined one of the big issues, and one of the big issues is lack of supply. And lack of supply comes from a number of areas. One, because we've had the last 2 years where construction was very badly impeded by 2 severe construction shutdowns. But even in 2020, 2021, last year we delivered over 9,000 new social homes, 17% up on the year before. And I want to concentrate on social housing first, because it's an area that I and this government absolutely believe in, and have a plan, Housing for All, which is fully funded on a multi-annual basis of €4 billion per year, 1.2 billion more than Sinn Féin had proposed per year in their own housing plan. That's important that people know that too. I didn't interrupt you once, Deputy, even though I was tempted. So, So the fact of the matter is, in the Housing for All plan, we've identified and we've resourced it to the tune of €4 billion. And I'll talk about the effect that that's having right now. We've targeted 90,000 new social housing builds. And this year, we've 9,000 social houses, new build social houses are targeted this year. And one thing the Sinn Féin party and your colleagues might do right across the country is maybe instruct your councillors and your other public representatives to stop objecting to social and affordable housing right across the country. Deputy Louise O'Reilly, I'm sorry, Ceann Comhairle.
Let the Minister speak.
You see, you got your clip for Twitter, each of you, your 1-minute clip, which you can go out with. I'm responding to the motion. I've moved the counter motion. Show a little bit of.
I'm misleading the House, Minister.
Well, that is Ceann Comhairle, quite a serious charge that Deputy O'Brien has raised, because he's losing his temper again. He can't behave himself. He can't behave himself.
Well, no, Deputy.
I don't think that this is the juvenile type of behaviour that we've come to expect from Sinn Féin opposite. What I'm trying to do, and what I will do, and I won't be bullied or shouted down by members opposite, because I have a right to speak in this House on behalf of government. Please respect the chamber if you could. We've targeted.
If there's going to be more of this, I'll suspend the House. Let's not make a fool of ourselves, please. Minister.
So if I could continue, Gurmagad Ceann Comhairle, targeted this year 9,000 new social house builds. And should that be delivered, which we intended to be, will be the single biggest delivery of social housing in any year in the history of the state. And all I have said to members opposite, when Deputy Louise O'Reilly, who's no longer here, and that's fine, that if I look at her colleagues in Fingal, who objected to a 1,200 housing scheme, 1,200 homes, 253 social, 253 affordable, and the remaining private, that her councillor in that area decided that that was not what they wanted. And I can give examples right across Dublin, right across the country. So I think one thing constructively that Sinn Féin could do is actually allow developments happen, allow public housing be built, and allow affordable housing be built. And that is very important that happens, because we have to catch up on supply. And if we look at last year, just over 21,000 completions, which is about 12,000 short on where we need to be. But this year so far, to the end of March, we're looking at over 22,000 new homes completed, which is the highest 12-month total over the past decade. 35,000 plus new commencement notices received between April and March 2022. And again, that's the highest 12-month rolling total since comparable data was first published. 43,000 new planning permissions for 43,000 new homes. And each of those, because it is supply across public and private, that's crucial in tackling both the rental and the affordability crisis. We brought forward the Affordable Housing Act, the most comprehensive Affordable Housing Act that has ever been brought forward in this House. And not only have we done that, we've opened the Affordable Housing Fund, where we're delivering affordable homes to purchase this year for hundreds of families. We'll be bringing forward our first home shared equity scheme from the 1st of July this year. That's going to help potential first-time buyers, many of whom who are stuck in a rental trap, to be able to bridge the gap between the finance that they have and the finance that they need by the state stepping in to help them by taking an equity. A scheme that the party opposite opposed, and opposed vociferously, and a scheme that will work for people who want to own their own home. Another scheme that members opposite oppose vociferously also is the Help to Buy grant that's helped over 30,000 individuals buy and own their own home. But inexplicably, members opposite oppose that. And that's something that we will continue to do because it's direct supports for people. What we need to do also is to resource our local authorities to build the homes that we need. And we have our plan set in place and agreed with all 31 local authorities right across the 26 counties of their housing delivery between now and 2026, both on social housing, on cost rental, affordable and on private. And speaking of cost rental, we've delivered cost rental. From a slow start, it did not exist. It wasn't here. We legislated for it. You supported it. There's tenants in place now, paying 50% below the market in many places, and we'll deliver hundreds more this year. Now, when I read the Sinn Féin motion, and I do genuinely thank the members opposite for tabling it, and now for giving me the opportunity to respond to it, it just speaks of dramatically increasing investment in delivery of large volume of affordable cost rental. But there's no detail behind it. There's no detail in relation to the capacity to deliver. And I know it, we've got to build the capacity up in the construction sector to deliver the homes that we need. And thankfully, because of the Housing for All plan, the construction sector is back to the pre-pandemic capacity it is, and the plan itself will create at least 27,000 new jobs, and that's actually happening right now. Now again, it mightn't suit the narrative, but it's turning in the right direction. And the cost rental rollout is happening and will continue to happen. And we've funded over 900 new tenancies now for this year coming forward. And we will do more. And if we can do more, we will, because resources is not the issue. And we have a national cost rental scheme now in place, a national affordable purchase scheme now in place, delivering our local authorities, delivering houses from 166,000 up, where the state in this instance also does take an equity stake through the local authorities in those homes. That's helping people who've been locked out of the market for the last 10 years get back into it. And then overall, and this may surprise some of you opposite, we do need to increase private housing delivery, because it's not illegal for someone to own their home, because some of you opposite, by the way you talk, you would actually, well, look, again, look, you can't help yourself, Owen, I'm afraid it's good. But
every time Fianna Fáil are in government, Ceann Corda, every time. But
it is not illegal for anyone to own their own home. And the members opposite, you wouldn't think from their contributions that that's a position that certainly they do not hold. But it speaks to the fact that you need a sustainable housing market. And why do you need the market? To serve the people, so the people can have good public housing, good social housing built to a high quality that I visited all across this country, that many of you have had the pleasure of turned up to housing developments that I've opened here, that this government are funding. I was in South Connemara there just on Friday. Deputy Mairead Farrell, who's no longer here, was quite happy to stand in a picture when we were repurposing an old post office for 4 beautiful new apartments being built in the Gaeltacht there, investing in I think your performance here. Do you know what, Owen? If you went to Spittle and if you met the families who got those 4 apartments, you mightn't be as flippant and as trite as you've been here right now. But I'm not going. I'm not going to lower my. I'm not going to lower my.
You're leaving
sorry,
behind?
Owen, you can't help yourself. I'm not going to lower myself to your level. Okay, I think your performance so far here this evening, and it has been a performance, speaks for itself. I'm trying to address the points that you've raised. We've brought in 2% rent cap, which you supported. Actually, 10 of the 11 pieces of legislation I brought forward over the last 12 months, 12 to 14 months, your party have supported. Yet, according to you, we're doing everything wrong. So in that sense, I think there's a little bit of a contradiction there. But what I wanted to ask the Deputy and his colleagues to say, when you say dramatically increase the investment, does that mean more than the €2.8 billion a year that you said you were going to put in, when we're putting in €4 billion? How are you actually going to deliver? Or is it?
Please.
This is ridiculous now, honestly. Honestly.
Please.
Count Corla, if the Deputy Opposite can't behave himself, he hasn't been able to behave himself or control himself right the way through this debate. It speaks for... Count Corla, it's unfortunate I've been shouted down through half this debate. It really is, because if deputies are to take it seriously and table motions that deserve proper debate and discourse... look, there's no point. There's no point. Owen, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I just want to make... Could I make a point, please? My job is to attempt to ensure that everybody here, everybody, has an opportunity to express their view. That includes the Minister as much as it does everybody else. And I'm afraid we're witnessing strategic heckling taking place here on an ongoing basis. And if it persists, then we will have to take action to put a stop to it, because it is objectionable, because it's preventing people from speaking. Now, as I see it here, you may reject everything the Minister says, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But you're going to you have additional time here in which to stand up and use for yourselves to reject and put the counter-argument. And that's what I'd ask you to do.
And I can assure you we won't interject.
Thank you.
Speakers, and we didn't right the way through.
Now we're going
so try
on
to behave yourself.
because we